to another episode of
Mac
and me.
On this episode of Mac and Me, I'm going to show you how to make a simple corn soup. Now this one, we're going to use corn on the cob, a white onion, a little bit of garlic, butter, these are crushed red pepper, and chicken stock. So we're going to start out by taking the corn off the cob. Now you do this just by sliding your knife down the side. Don't do it too fast or you will make a little bit of a mess. And you're going to get about 3 corn cobs, and this is going to give you enough to make a soup for about 4 people. So now we've cut our corn off the cob, we're going to get our white onions and we're just going to do a rough dice on this. And what we're going to do with these onions is we're going to sweat them down with butter and garlic. You only need about half for this recipe. If you want to make more for 8 people, you can use the other half. So we have our onions here. Going to get about 4 or 5 garlic cloves. I've just cut in half. And that's enough to start out your soup. And get a little bit of butter. And let that start to melt, and then we'll put in our onions and garlic. So now our butter is melted and ready to go. Just going to put our onions and garlic in here. I'm going to turn down the heat because we don't want to get these too caramelized. We just want to sweat them. Now sweating them is when they become translucent. So what it's doing is giving off all the flavors, and we're keeping them nice and light so that our soup doesn't get too dark. So we're going to sweat these for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll add our corn. So now that we've let our onions and garlic saute a little bit and just sweat down, remember always to season, a little bit of salt. I'm using white pepper here to keep the color. We're going to add our corn in. And then about 1.5 cups of corn here. And now we're just going to let this sweat for about another 2 to 3 minutes. Then we'll add some chicken stock to it, just a little bit, about 1/2 cup, and then we'll blend it up, make it real smooth, transfer it back, and add some cream. So now we've let our corn sweat, we're going to add a little bit of chicken stock. Now I'm adding this chicken stock, 1, to give it a little bit more flavor, and 2, it's going to make it easier to blend up in our food blender. So now that we have done this, we can turn off the heat and take it to the blender. So we're just going to take our corn mixture with our onions and chicken broth and put it into our blender. Now you'll want to wash your pot while this is blending, and that way you'll have it ready to put back on the stove. So now we're just going to turn this on. And we're going to let this blend until it's nice and smooth. So another thing that I like to do with this corn soup is, if you like a little bit of spice to your soups, I get a little bit of this crushed red pepper. And I'm just going to add a pinch of it in there. And it's going to give your soup a little bit of a red color to it, and a little bit more of a spicy flavor. And this is the perfect time to do it while it's blending up, so it makes it nice and smooth as well. So now we've blended this for around 3 minutes, and it's nice and smooth. So we're going to put this back into our pot. back over the heat. And get as much as you can out of there. And just put it on low heat. So now you're going to take your cream over the low heat and it's going to whisk it in. I'm going to use about a cup, cup and a half, depending on how thick your soup is. And just keep adding it until you get your consistency that you like. It should be a fairly thick soup. And you want to keep the color to it as well. This is also a good time to check your seasoning on it. See if you need more salt and pepper. But right now it has the nice taste of the corn, a little bit of spice from the crushed red pepper, and you can taste everything great. So now we're going to make the garnish for the corn soup. I put a little bit of corn oil in here. And I'm going to make a little bit of roasted corn for the corn garnish. Now this will look really good. It'll add some body to the soup and it's just going to have great flavor to go along with it. So we're just going to put this in here once this gets hot. Good way to test if it's hot is A, if it's smoking. B, I just put one in there. As soon as it starts popping, you know it's ready. So our corn has started to pop. So I'm going to start to add a little bit more. Now we can season this as well with just a little bit of salt. I'm going to use white pepper again. And this one we want to get dark. So we're just going to leave it in there. Don't move it for a little while. As soon as you see it start popping, you know that's when you want to start to move it around. And we're going to get the whole thing so it's nice and dark and like almost charred. So let's leave it here for now and we'll come back and have it done. So as you can see, our corn has turned nice and brown. This is going to be a great little garnish for us. And the popcorn, oh yeah, the corn does pop. So just watch out. You will have to make a little bit of a clean after this, but it's very good. You can also do this in the oven and just put a little bit of foil. You can steam it if you don't like the brown color to make it a nice yellow, like just plain yellow. So we can just add a little bit of this to our soup dish and it gives it some nice color in there and some more flavor. So this is Mac and me with our popcorn soup, and I hope you enjoyed it.